Hi, I'm just going to do a very brief walkthrough. My name's Chris Cubbage. I'm the executive editor with MySecurity Media, and we were the organisers for the Top Women in Security ASEAN Region Awards for 2022. This particular session is celebrating International Women in Cyber Day, 1st of September. So happy Women in Cyber Day. It's good that I'm the only guy here and the rest of the ladies. And this is also in association with cyber risk meetups as well, with Shemaine Tan as well. So on screen, we've got the winners from the Cybersecurity Awards, which is part of the Top Women in Security ASEAN Region Awards. So these are the top 7 winners that scored extremely highly in cybersecurity as part of that award series. So yeah, absolutely. And thank you to Shemaine Tan, was one of the 7 judges as well as part of the awards. So thank you to those that have been able to join us. I mentioned the awards we will be running. We have done 3 years. We are planning to do them for the next 3 years as well. So please stay tuned for that. We just held on the 15th of August, the hybrid awards in Malaysia with Cybersecurity Asia 2022. So it was a hybrid award. So thank you to everyone that was participated in that. And then also during the year, we launched in Malaysia in a hybrid event on the 8th of March, International Women's Day. And again, nominations will open for 2023 on International Women's Day. And then we also held a meetup in Singapore on the 18th of May, which was Meet the Judges. So we're going to look to do the same kind of program for 2023. Now, Shemaine and I have worked for many years together now, and as part of the cyber risk meetups, that she is the founder of the meetups. And Shemaine, I'll walk you very briefly through because I'm going to hand over to you, but the meetups are also held in Tokyo, Singapore, and across Australia as well as the mentorship and leadership programs and the CISO program. So it's even lucky, we're lucky to even have Shemaine here. She's so busy as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Well, actually, you can see one of the winners who volunteered to be on our program as our global mentor, global mentorship program as one of our mentors. So Mel McGreeno. Right. Yeah, you see her there.
Wonderful. Well, look, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to you, Shemaine. You're going to moderate a panel session for Women in Cyber. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Chris. And I'm very excited to be part of this fireside chat. I think first of all, we really want to celebrate, International Women's Cyber Day. It's a very, very important day. And, we also have, we have to acknowledge, right, the progress that has been done in the industry. Of course, there's lots of growth still, and we will talk a bit about that later on. But pleased to have with me so many of the winners here. And I'm sure the audience want to hear from the winners themselves, what's their journey like, what are some of the success stories that we can all be inspired from. And also, I'm just so curious to hear from the winners, what it means to you to have actually achieved this award, because it's a huge recognition. Congratulations again, by the way, for being recognized as a Top ASEAN Women Region Award. So congratulations. Let's have a quick round to hear from the panel. Maybe if y'all can introduce yourself really quickly and just talk about what it means to you, to have actually gained that recognition. So let's start off first. Since we talk about Mel McGreeno, we'll start with Mel. I see her on my screen. Over to you, Mel.
Yeah, so first of all, good afternoon, Shemaine, Chris, and of course, good afternoon to the lovely ladies and amazing ladies actually in this panel. Yeah, my name is Mel McGreeno, so I lead the whole cybersecurity program. I am actually the VP and the Group CISO of Meralco, the largest power distribution unit in the Philippines, as well as all roughly 8 subsidiaries of Meralco. I am also the chairman and the president of the Women in Security Alliance Philippines. So actually, Shemaine, going back to your question, so what it means to me. So I think, well, of course, initially the feeling is really fulfilling for all of the hard work that were actually exerted for the different groups of individuals in our society in general. But I think more to that is really about receiving such recognition is a testament on how the organizations that we work with, as well as the organizations that we serve, have actually transformed to be innovative and mature in terms of fulfilling their mission and vision in the realm of cybersecurity and risk management. And I would say this, this dynamic, amazing changes should be able to lead us in realizing more programs on how we can assimilate both women and men to actually protect the physical and digital environment that we live in. So I think those are my thoughts around it. It's not really about, well, me personally, it's not really about me, but it's really about giving back.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Mel. Really appreciate that. And moving on to Estelle Wang, representing Singapore.
Yeah, hello. Hi, Sherry, and hi, Chris, and also other ladies. So I'm so happy to be invited here from this International Cyber Women in Cyber Day. But unfortunately, this is my first year. I know this day. Hopefully, like following years, I will not still remember.
That's not too late.
Yes, yes, definitely not too late. Yes, I mean, this award. I'm really appreciate the recognitions, especially in automotive industrial. You can see I'm working more in IoT security, where majority of other colleagues, they are working more on IT security. I think yes, they are interconnect with each other, but they have a different directions and domain and expertise areas. So then this meaning that cybersecurity is a big family. Big family meaning that they have a lot of directions. They have can be content with different voice or different directions in this one families. So also to somehow inspire next generations, if you work on the cybersecurity technology roadmaps, it also can achieve something in the future. It is, yes, it is not only you look at yourself as the CISO or in the direction of your career path, but definitely that's also impairs. But we need different layers, different different areas of the talent to work on the cybersecurity family. This is mean a lot to me, and also encourage me that because I'm also a chair of IEEE Security System chapter in Singapore. So I also did want to promote more for women in engineering these directions.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, from more like senior regions where we already have women in CAS activities existing. Yeah, so I also get some ideas from our communities where I can bring it back to IEEE. I also get some ideas from that community back to us. Yeah, so
100%.
this yeah, so this is something I want to share with everyone.
Yeah. Oh, you put it really well, Estelle. I love it because that's the beauty of our industry. It's very inclusive. It's very diverse. We need that diversity across experience. And the thing is that we can learn from other industry as well. But at the same time, that cross-industry sharing, with the engineering and the cyber, I think what you're doing is fantastic. So thanks for sharing that. All right. So over to Malaysia now. We have Dr. Manmeet Ko Mahinderjit Singh. Yes, if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Simon, and good evening to all the ladies out there, and also to the participants who have joined the session. So my name is Manmeet, and I am associate professor in the School of Computer Science in University of Science Malaysia, and I believe that I'm truly honored. I was truly honored to win this award. I guess I've won even this researcher award. What it means to me is basically two main points. First of all is a great recognition for the effort of everyone who have directly and indirectly worked with me, especially to all my students. We are in the first layer as an educator to train young talent, especially women, to make them understand the cyber world out there, the cybersecurity domain as we speak of. And when you look into all this, being the first layer, I'm sure that whatever we instill in the young mind would take them through to the industries like what Estelle and Mel have mentioned. So yes, I think winning the award is a recognition, and it is a validation from industries that we are at the right path. The pathway that we have actually chosen is the one that actually we echo with all the stakeholders out there. And I think that is what it means to me. So most of all, in the world of research, cybersecurity is a multidisciplinary. So we are here to not only to research on fundamentals, but also in different domains. So I believe that this is a very good opportunity in which it could be used in order to gain or instill more passion among students and also to industry out there. Yeah.
Oh, well said,
back to you,
Manmeet. Yeah, well said. I think the panel itself just illustrates, right, the diversity of that. Like every one of you are coming from different background and experiences. Speaking of which, we have a very interesting one also that we're going to go on to next. So actually, Philippines are showing up in full force. 2 winners from Philippines. So the final one over here is we have Jeanette Chavez, LCO. So we'll just call her Jen, as she was saying. Yes, over to you, Jen, if you can introduce yourself and just share a bit about what it means to you.
Thank you very much, Charmaine. And good afternoon to everybody. Of course, Chris, thank you and Charmaine for organizing this virtual meetup, and to the ladies who are with me this afternoon, and to the rest of you who are watching. Hello. Well, this is truly very important to me. Of course, it is like I've been saying over the past weeks since Kuala Lumpur. This is quite a surprise. It means so much to me because, like what Dr. Namneet mentioned, and perhaps Estelle as well, and Mel, this is an affirmation of the body of works that we've done over the years that is related to cybersecurity and the protection of our people in the cyber domain. Also equally important, because I share this with one of the countries, the Philippines expert in cybersecurity, no less than Ms. Mel Megrino. I mean, to be just a co-winner, country awardee co-winner with Mel is really a extreme honor for me. And of course, I mentioned last time, I have an only daughter, and she was with me in Kuala Lumpur, and she is in the stage of deciding what to do, you know, in college and her profession in the future. And this is hopefully something that is inspiring or will inspire her, as well as the many others who are out there, women who have always thought that cybersecurity or anything that is tech or IT is merely for men or the domain of men. Being also part of the military establishment as a lieutenant colonel of the reserve force of the Philippine Army, this is very important because it establishes what women can actually contribute to this whole effort of cybersecurity, cyber defense.
Oh, that's really awesome. You know, I think I had the privilege of actually looking at all the different nominations, and I must say it was so difficult because when I just keep getting more and more impressed as I was looking through the achievements, you know, and I was just so proud of the women in our industry because, you know, we talk about the impostor syndrome. You know, sometimes you feel, okay, I'm not good enough, or maybe I don't want to talk about certain achievement because there are others who have more impressive achievements. But I really want to commend the effort and the courage that actually all the women have put in terms of being able to highlight also their achievements and talk about it. And it really inspires so many others who are looking at them as role models. And not just that, our allies who have taken the time to nominate all of you and the different women and give you guys a chance, right, to be recognized for that. So it was so difficult. I don't know how, you know, so I would say you all have done fantastic to be recognized as the winners. But it's very encouraging to know we have such a good group also of fantastic achievers. And speaking of which, you know, let's go and talk about you know, how we have progressed, because everyone talks about, you know, the stigma, sometimes the unconscious bias that, you know, women face. And of course, there are challenges, real challenges that we go through in different parts of our journey. We want it to be a very real heart-to-heart sharing here so that we can, you know, people know that they're not alone in this as well. So if you can share of maybe a challenge that maybe, or something that has been an obstacle to you in the past, but how you have progressed from there, I think that would be really helpful. So who wants to go first? Oh, don't have to be shy. Okay, I'm going to arrow then. Let's go with Dr. Estelle.
Okay, because I'm smiling, maybe you want to discover my secret.
Yeah, you're looking friendly.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Okay. I don't see. How to say? I actually been with the industry work. I mean, life. Most challenging part is to maintain your stakeholders and to keep improve your soft skills, especially for conflict management. Because those conflict management is it's like, I make an example so everyone can understand, you know, from that there. Maybe you see, oh, that's the similar things I have been met before. So you have a colleague and she or he doesn't report to you, yeah, so you don't have any reporting relationship, but you need to encourage her or him to work with you to deliver a concrete work packages in the end. I think this is quite a challenge in the beginning for me. You know, once you are still in, you know, in other industrial, maybe smaller ones, so you just listen to your boss. Your boss say yes, you go, and no, you don't go. But in this big MNC companies, it's not possible. You always, the task is not always coming down from your boss directly. So how to encourage the other people, inspire them to work with you, and then, you know, to deliver a concrete work packages which will without delay the timeline. Yeah, definitely you can have several options. Then first one, you go to escalation to her boss and his boss. Yeah, say, oh, he didn't do his job, but eventually this will cause that person demotivated on your topic. The second choice, you go to talk to him. Can you work harder? I think this is also a bad idea. So person will feel like, oh, I didn't work hard. You come to tell me I work hard. Then maybe you have option 3. In the end, I choose my option 3. Also, and my personal learning is like I have a proper project planning, and to be transparent to my boss and to my colleague who work with me. And then in the discussions, we decide, okay, you take that ownership, the other person take the other ownership. Then we all agree on the milestone delivery timelines. Then step by step, the person understanding, oh yeah, he is part of the team. He need to work on those deliveries. We can work together. So, I mean, everyone has different choices. You need to try out. So this is my experiences.
Okay, thanks for sharing that, you know, practical ways as well to go about it and the different options. What about you, Mel?
Okay, so I think first off, Charmaine, let me share with you my thoughts, right, around gender inclusivity first. So I think women right now consist of, I think, more or less more than 30% already in tech, right? That would actually occupy, you know, combination of, you know, leadership role as well as analyst roles, right, within the male-dominated industry. And I think with the drive of gender inclusivity, as well as those companies actually who are actually heavy on promoting the sustainability agenda, right, on gender equality, we see that, the gap that we used to know is, would slowly actually decrease. So I think in my case, I think all my life I actually joined organizations wherein there is a fairly, good number of women. But in my recent stint in Meralco, since it is actually a power company, a distribution unit, so it's actually a male-dominated industry. So I thrive in an organization where practically men permeate in the leadership seats. And even within the workforce, right, majority of the analysts are also men. So, but my game really is to actually the game for me didn't start well because because the organization is male dominated, plus it's also very traditional. So, and plus the fact that it's really a big organization, so you can imagine that. So I think mine is I said to myself, right, that first is I need to know the overall temper of the organization if I really want to fit in. And then I
That's
think the second one there is once I get to know the temper, right, I need to show to them, right, because there are a lot of organizations inside, on top of the different companies inside the conglomerate, that that first one is I know what I'm doing. So if I speak of something more or less, it's something that I can support, not only by by showing this and this, but also I mean support by supplementing equivalent efforts to actually help embed and eventually protect your business, right, against the different technology risks. And I think so I work on that premise. So and then actually concurrent with that, I also build partnerships across the organization. So I think that's one thing that I learned. I mean, you need to be a strategic partner to each of the business functions, regardless if it's if this one is actually on the technology, I mean enterprise IT, because we do also have quite a huge operational technology team, which is now also evolving to an IIoT because our converged infrastructure is also growing. So so I made it a point that I mean starting from myself that at the executive level I'm a strategic partner to you, but it doesn't end at my level. I needed to actually cascade it really downwards to my direct reports and their respective teams, etc. And and to imbibe the same level of thinking, right? To imbibe the same level of vibrance towards all other teams within the organization. Right? So it's like more of a ripple effect, right? And so far, I mean, after exerting efforts, I think we were able to yield good results until such time that that the organization really recognizes that cybersecurity is a business enabler. Of course, I mean, even at the start, cybersecurity in our organization is a CEO agenda. But of course, me as their leader, I mean, you really need to show it why it is a business agenda, right? Why is it a business enabler? So I think it's not only a combination of your, of what you know, right? But it's really try to imbibe the culture. And while you imbibe the culture, right, then slowly you need to put in those ingredients that would make an effective cybersecurity program so that eventually you can expand your visibility as well as management throughout the organization. So yeah, so it's a long journey for me, Shamina.
Wow, no, I really appreciate that, because sometimes people can give like a high level, but what really helps is when you break it down and show them the progress, what were the different pieces you worked on first, and then how you actually execute your leadership, and build that culture, right? Building a whole culture within an organization takes a lot of effort. It takes a journey as well. So thank you for sharing that. What about you, Manmeet? I know you mentioned earlier that you have a bit of a different spin and angle to this.
All right. Thanks, Sherman. Okay. Basically, I think I'm echoing together with all these panelists. When we work in the cyber, especially computer science, for example, there is the passion for us to learn, especially because we know that computer science is fun. We love problem solving. So that is what actually pushed me towards cybersecurity. And I could actually perceive that when I joined the domain of cybersecurity as an educator, I'm in the department in which most of I think all of these educators are male. So you cannot deny that it is a male-dominated industry or field. And when being said that, one issue that I have faced that is me myself is we human, especially women, we tend to self-limit. We have that self-limiting belief. We feel that we are not good enough. We do feel that because even though you have all the achievements at the back of you, but when you are actually working in an environment such, it comes down to you and you start questioning yourself, which could means you are self-doubting yourself. And this is true. I think Shaman mentioned this earlier, that it happens, this imposter syndrome, it does happen. And it is very true when you talk about women. I have actually talked to many women who are very good, but they face this type of issues. And I was also into this. And what I did was to encounter that by, of course, I need to know what I carry with myself. I need to have that skill set. Okay, I need to have that skill set. I need to have that professional development inside me. And when I have that, what I did next was basically to start working the pathway and start collecting evidence. So the evidence here are basically just going in and applying grants, supervising students, and joining competitions, becoming judge. And all this evidence that I have gathered, some were successful and some were not. But to those that I did not make it, I have learned from my mistakes. But the one that I have made an impact, or I have succeeded in getting an award, for example. So that became a validation that this is, I'm at the right path. Wow. So looking into this, that is the first thing, the self-limiting belief that I had earlier. Second is the lack of role model. So this is, I think this is what Chris is doing here,
yes,
getting more role models. Because without role models, sometimes you will be, you do not know whether are you doing the right thing.
Yep.
But right now, as a mentor to some women organizations, so I have actually learned that I could actually instill what I have learned before and share with them what were my experience and make them see what they should do next. And I think finally is when you talk about this field, cyber field or cybersecurity, it is all about you yourself, sometimes the enemy within. So one thing you could do is always be positive, think about what is the worst case scenario that could happen if, let's say, you fail. So that will actually keep you more prepared, and you know, you could actually deal with anything that comes by. Yes, that's what I believe. Thanks.
Yeah, really, really good. I think these are very powerful keys that help every people as well, because I'm surprised sometimes when I speak to very experienced people that are managing global teams, and then they say they're still daunted maybe in terms of applying for a role because they feel that they're not good enough. And I'm like, what? You're managing hundreds of people, right? So yeah, we all go through that. And I think what you've shared is really encouraging. You know, I would just put it out there to the women and people who are just listening in, right? Don't despise the days of your small beginning, right? So always look at what you have. You know, I like what Mandy said, you know, collect those evidence, right? Collate it together. And then when you look at that, you get encouraged as well. You sometimes don't realize how far you've progressed progress. And, just put yourself out there. Don't be afraid. And if there's failures, it's fine. We learn from it, we grow from it. So that's fantastic. Wow, Chris, we are so pressed on time because there's so much richness in this panel. I feel we can keep on going on. I want to still go on to Jen. So maybe Jen, if you can wrap up and just share, with us something different from what the group has already shared, or even talk about an achievement that you think the rest would be encouraged to hear and aspire to. Over to you, Jen.
Thank you, Shamin. And, it's so inspiring really to hear and listen to all these amazing women who has trailblazed the industry, actually. Just for context, unlike the, panel of experts that we have this afternoon who are really more tech-based, I am more policy centric or policy focused when it comes to the cybersecurity industry or the cybersecurity domain. So I've worked in the public sector under the Department of Justice. I'm currently very active in the military sector as a reserve officer of the Philippine Army and working very closely with the Armed Forces of the Philippines Cyber Group. And also separately, I wear another hat, and that is an administrator of an educational institution, a community college that caters to, slightly down market or students that come from the lower market in the area where we serve them. And so I'd like to share what the challenges I've been through in those three areas. For example, when I was working at the Department of Justice and we were pushing and advocating the protection of children on cyberspace as early as 2011, 2010, we were working with Microsoft Cyber Unit based in DC. These things are fairly new at the time, and of course the organization was not fully aware of such capabilities of certain units and certain organizations. We were just very lucky, like what Mel said, perhaps, and even Amit and Estelle. It's very important how you build your credibility such that people that you work with will actually believe that there is something in what you are trying to propose, in what you are trying to recommend that they pursue. And thankfully, in the process, we also have very amazing women leaders in the Department of Justice at that time, and they supported the recommendation in terms of, one, for example, being a member, the Philippine government being a member of the Global Alliance to End Child Sexual Exploitation Online. That was a milestone at that time. Also, to be very participative and highly engaged in the Asia Pacific Financial Coalition against sexual exploitation of children online is also a major step for the Philippine government. And that's one thing. For the military, to be able to bridge and bring together, for example, tech experts, industry experts, and to be able to help the military organization level up their capability and capacity in terms of cybersecurity and cyber defense is also something that I feel, I had the opportunity of being able to bring to the table. I'm just so glad. Again, the credibility factor is quite important, I believe, as the rest of the women on this afternoon's panels mentioned. For those who are listening, for example, the young women out there, as what everybody has mentioned, it's very important that we build our track record as best as we can and with as much integrity as we can. Everybody has been talking about imposters. For the longest time, I have felt that, I shouldn't be talking about what I have done in this particular industry or in this particular sector or area of expertise, because, people might think, how do you claim that you are such? So I've been very quiet. This award is actually, like I said, very important to me because it affirms all the work that we have done and contributed to the work and to the advocacy. as a school administrator, lastly, one of the biggest challenges is working with a board or decision makers that are highly traditional and conservative. You know, during the pandemic, it was critical to level up digitalization, right? It's important that we do not have disruption in terms of our delivery of our learning services. And so, investment in a lot of the tech requirements is very, very expensive. But again, I'm very, very glad that we have a very highly intelligent decision makers. We have a highly intelligent board. We give them, you know, the basis for the decision. We tell them what is the contribution of being able to bring in a strong, for example, platform, learning management platform, and so on, upgrading the digitalization of all the system. Yeah. And at the end of the day, they recognize, you know, the numbers add up. And that pretty much, even if they're very conservative, traditional, they hardly understand the tech behind it. They said, okay, let's go for it. And now we are reaping the rewards of the investment and the work that we put in. So I'm just very grateful for that. And I'm grateful for all the support.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I think you just demonstrate also about, you know, how when you really understand the business, you also understand that there's a need for the adaptation, right, to a changing landscape, and then being able to bring and influence, right, maybe the more traditional business people with different mindsets, and then taking that journey with them so that we can all achieve the right outcome that you want for the organization. That's not an easy feat at all. That's really impressive, and I must say, you know, well done. And very, very happy to be able to hear all your different stories today. I think, Chris, you have brought together an amazing panel of people from around the region, you know, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, myself from Sydney. You know, thank you. We just want to mention, you know, we can't do this, right, without the support of people like you, Chris. So we wish there are more allies and advocates, and yes, definitely, you know, keep doing what you're doing. Here's to the next 3 years of more women that we're going to see being recognized across the region. We went over by a couple of minutes, but, you know, thank you so much for taking time out, all of you, to share your stories and experience. And back to you, Chris.
Great, thank you very much. That was perfect. The recording will be available tomorrow. And I've just put the links in the show notes for the booklet, even just going through that booklet with the top 30 and then the award winners and even the judges as well. Again, I think it represents ASEAN very, very well. There was a couple in the audience. I saw a couple of surnames there because we didn't get much representation from Vietnam, and I'd like to get a little bit more exposure in Vietnam. But otherwise, we had country winners from most other countries other than Myanmar and Laos. So that's where we want to try and pick up next year. So please have a look at those links, and we'll stay in touch. The nominations for 2023, International Women's Day on the 8th of March, 2023. So thank you very much. We'll sign off.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Lovely seeing you again. Bye.
Bye.